Hello and welcome to PSGL F5, PC F5 this week. Of course, it's at Austria. It's been a couple of weeks off. I'm Gareth Allen. Alongside me is Epic. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing very well. What about you, my good friend?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. It's been a half nice day, a half miserable day where I've been. A few spring showers and a few sunny moments, so it's been quite nice. Very different from 2 weeks ago when it was just like thick snow where I was, which was crazy. And very much looking forward to this race today. Round 4 it is, and hopefully everyone in the chat can actually hear us, because last time it was the time before last we had some difficulty with the different mic settings, etc. Hopefully everyone will be able to hear us okay, but it's been a hectic first few races in the series. Only Matteo leading with 19 points, and that's basically 2 points separate the top 4 drivers. So it's been some chaotic racing in the first 3 races, hasn't it, Epic?
Yes, definitely. Of course, an important race back in Singapore for Matteo to take the championship lead. Last race, he didn't score any points. Of course, disappointing there that he could have extended his championship lead. But we've got to talk about one driver that is in this championship fight, and that's Sixten Lindhardt, who's currently 3rd. He picked up his first win in PSGL last race, France. And it's quite interesting to see how it's gone, because this top 4 seem to all be on almost a different level from quite a lot of the rest of the grid. It just seems to be that those 4 that are fighting for the sort of fighting for race wins and things like that. But we can't discount Wildy, who's had a couple of tough races. He DNF'd. I think he DNF'd last race.
Yes,
and
France.
So that was a tough one for Wildy to take on. But also, we've got to remember that Ivan Santamaria, he might be on the same amount of points as Sixten Lindhardt, but he's still in this championship fight, although he still hasn't won a race. He's only finished in the points twice, and that was at last race, and where he got that very, very nice 3rd place back in Singapore, I believe it was. And so there is, it shows that you don't have to win every race or a lot of races to be able to go in for the championship fight. And I think that's what's going to be interesting.
Yeah, consistency can pay off. Looking back at 1982 when Keke Rosberg just won one race to take the World Championship, it can pay off sometimes. And who knows, maybe even Santamaria can go all the way without winning and take the championship, of course, in 2nd place at the moment. Actually, let's head over and have a quick look at the standings while we're talking about them. Matteo still leads the championship despite a poor showing last time out. We'll have a quick look at the headlines. I think he got 0 points, did get the fastest lap, but was very disappointed to score out of the points. I think a crash at the start really just put him outside of the DRS train, and of course very important at the Mistral Straights. Sixten Lindhardt and Ivan Santamaria are joint 2nd and 3rd in the championship, and Sixten Lindhardt, of course, taking his first win. I think it should put him in 2nd place above Sixten Lindhardt, but for whatever reason, above Ivan Santamaria, but for whatever reason, the PSGL standings show it the other way around, but my standings show it the other way. Anyway, getting into the detail, not needed there. Wildy is in 4th. Of course, he led the championship after the first race, but a couple of disappointing races, as you said. Stella Artois and Emmy in 5th and 6th, and both of those drivers are rookies to PSGL and doing well for the Alfa Romeo team. And let's jump over to constructors. McLaren lead the standings with 31 points. 29 points is the Aston Martin just behind. Alfa Romeo, though, with those 2 rookie drivers being really consistent, they're only 3 points behind the championship lead and absolutely have every chance at mounting a constructors fight here. And I've no idea why my camera isn't showing on this page, but it isn't for some reason, so we'll just go with that. But here are the headlines. Matteo maintains a slender lead over the championship. We just saw it. 1 point is the championship lead. Lindhardt wins in France. It was his first PSGL win, and the first win for AlphaTauri this year as well. And those two are quite a pairing, Kuipers and Lindhardt. And he just had the measure mixture of Snakes throughout the race. Snakes, of course, got on the board. First points for him as well, and he is down in ninth position with 12 points. And also, finally, Kuipers keeps his penalty, so he did actually try to maintain that he should have them removed after his scuffle with Ivan Santamaria on track last week, but the stewards felt the overtake on Santamaria was illegal and it was right to give out the penalty, and the infraction could not be moved for corner cutting because of insufficient evidence provided. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, so here we are for Austria. We've got to talk about this track. It was the season opener to the 2020 season, if we all look back that far. But it's an interesting one heading into qualifying because it's tough for track limits, isn't it? It's just a strange track, in my opinion. It's difficult for track limits, although it's such a simple track.
Yeah, I mean, it's been raced in this configuration, well, since the 90s, the A1 ring, it used to be known as before the Red Bull ring came on the circuit as in 2014, and I guess that's strictly when this configuration started. But it's very, very difficult on track limits. Turn 1, very easy to run wide, through turn 7 and 8, through the Worth curve, it's absolutely really easy to invalidate, and also the final two corners of Rindt and the Red Bull Mobile corner turn 10, it's just so easy to run track limits, and we could see that have a big impact on our race results today, can't we, Epic?
Yeah, and it's raining.
Yes, a very wet paddock to show all of everyone, and we'll just quickly jump in, have a quick look at the track map. Oh, and that's France, so let's not even bother with that. Yeah, well, Austria, of course, today, not France. So yeah, it is raining, and it's going to be an extra challenge for our drivers here. Only 13 drivers turning up so far. I'm sure a few more will fiddle through the race, but yeah, only 13 drivers turning up so far.
Yeah, there has been. It is interesting, isn't it? How it's not so much attendance has been lower than usual. It just seems like a lot of people are struggling to make a couple of the races lately. But that isn't a problem, because we can still get great racing from, it doesn't matter how many drivers, even if we had 5, we could still get some really good racing. As the first driver coming out on track is FGE Daniel, who I believe is making his debut.
No, he did race in the first race at Spain.
In F5.
Yeah, in F5. He did race in Spain this season. But he is a reserve for the Red Bull team. Who is he returning for? I feel like... who is that? It will be Asseles, who, of course, left WOR recently. So Asseles without a team at the moment. But FG Daniel filling in for Asseles, and we'll see what he can do. It's full wets out there. That is going to be really tricky for our drivers.
Yeah, I don't think they would have been thinking... of course, they would have done practice for this, but I don't think they'd be expecting such heavy rain. But it does seem to be coming off slightly. But this is going to be an interesting thing. Because if it's dry for the race... as it might be, or it might not be, we might see a completely different range in pace. If it is going to be dry for the race, as the drivers will know, if it's going to be dry or not, are they running dry setups or are they running wet setups? And so we'll have to see in the lap times, and I think that's where it's really going to tell. But should we go on board with FG Daniel and go for his lap?
Yeah, of course, the fastest circuit in terms of pure lap speed today, so it's quite a quick one. So we'll go on board with FG Daniel as we do the first qualifying lap of the Red Bull Ring, and it's braking at 100 metres using the curb at the first corner. That's the Niki Lauda curve, and now run down to turn 2, which is this right-left kink on the straight. That's turn 2, and then heading up to turn 3, that's Remus. Uphill we go, braking a little bit earlier than he normally would, and maybe a little bit too early actually, and it's going to be so difficult on traction here during the race, let alone in these wet and treacherous conditions. And now we run all the way down to Schloss Gold, our third of 3 DRS zones, but no DRS active in these conditions, of course, and this will be a heavy overtaking opportunity in the race if it is dry conditions. Are always difficult to overtake in wet conditions. Now we come to the infield section. Roush, the turn 6 corner, which you completely missed the apex as FGA Daniel, which isn't going to be conclusive to a good lap time. And now through the second part of the Worth curve 7 and out of 8, running that curb all the way on the right hand side, and haven't got the track map up just yet, but I don't know if that's track limits, but really missing the apex at Rindt really far off track, and I'd be very surprised if he's managed to keep this all good. He has actually, but he crosses the line as a 1:16, and I expect other cars to go faster out there. No one yet to start a lap. Actually, no, I say that. Stella Artois in 12th. He is out there and actually fastest middle sector. Also, Emmy, fastest first sector. So the Alfa Romeo is looking quick here.
Yes, definitely. Off of that first lap from FG Daniel, it does look like they are running dry setups for the lap time. That pretty much confirms it really, that is really what on first laps the drivers are showing. But looking for the next driver, it's actually Timo Kuipers on the intermediate tyres. I think he hasn't got the message that it is wet tyre conditions. But I can see why he's trying though, because of course it depends all on the pace. And Kine has put in one hell of a lap there to go 6/10 faster than anybody else on track. A very good lap from Kine, possibly different setups, running something a bit different. And Emmy goes faster. I am starting to see that the rain is clearing up slightly, and it is getting lighter. So this is possibly where we're getting more and more pace. But we'll probably see more and more lap times come from the drivers as they come round. That was SG Daniel doing another lap on his tyres. I believe the next driver is Snakes. Interesting season for Snakes, hasn't it? It's a bit of an up and down season. He's been fighting there sometimes, out for podiums and for high points. Then he struggles a bit as he goes P3.
Yeah, so P3 for Snakes, as you say. So he missed the first race in Spain. Second race, was leading the race, had a crash with, I can't quite remember who it was, but he crashed with someone and that put him, well, he had contact with someone and that put him out of the race in Singapore. And then, of course, second place led during the first stint, rocket ship off the line at France. But yeah, he's got some points on the board now and maybe he can build from there. Not surprising to see some double laps out there. Of course, quite a short circuit, so you can easily fuel it up for multiple laps. And also, you just want to have that confidence on circuit and find the right grip at the right time. And the tyres going off isn't as much of a problem when it is the wet or intermediate tyres. But here we go, Emmy to the line again. He's 3.8 seconds off that time, and I think recharging his ERS for another lap.
I'm seeing Ivan Santamaria. He put in a very good Sector 1. He's about 1.5 tenths faster than anybody in Sector 1 alone, which is almost proving my point that the rain is clearing slightly and is providing better pace. But as we saw in those first few laps, all over the place for Ivan Santamaria, but he still goes purple in the middle sector. And Snakes goes fastest. Definitely the rain is reducing if we're seeing lap times improving by around a second and a half from those first lap times we had as Ivan Santamaria does back off.
Yeah,
his lap.
Mika Biemp coming to Rindt. He was super quick through the middle sector, but other cars have gone quicker, including Sixten Linhart. But Mika Biemp on those intermediates starting to find a bit of time, and I think this could put him up quite far on the leaderboards, and it does indeed put him up to 8th. Furthermore, Sixten Linhart out there in 5th position. He is coming to the line, and he was up, and then he goes to the top by 2 tenths of a second. Absolutely, conditions improving. Start of this race, start of this qualifying session, the chance of rain was 91%. That's already shrank down to 85%.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the one thing, I am currently on board with Leonard Jask. Of course, we remember the Singapore race for Leonard Jask. A very difficult one, shall we say. We won't mention, too much about it.
I've already mentioned it. I've already mentioned that collision. It was him and Snakes, of course.
Yeah, but he only goes 10th, which again shows that possibly the wets are starting to fall off slightly now, as it looks like it is getting drier on track. But there are a few things that we need to cover with a couple of drivers. Sixten Linhart is, I mean, at the moment he is he's in the hot spot, isn't he, for this championship? You know, he has a good run on the current championship leader Matteo, who is currently in the pits, who hasn't done a lap yet. Neither of the McLarens have, but Sixten Linhart has this really good run on Matteo for this championship, and I suspect if he can keep this run going, it could really lead to a championship for the young driver.
Yeah, absolutely. The AlphaTauris both looking quite racy. Of course, Kuiper's struggling to get points on the board so far this season. A bit unlucky in the first race, racing maybe too hard in the second race, and then in the third race, and then having that crash at the end, which of course completely dunked him out of the points-paying positions. And yeah, it's been difficult one for Kuipers, but Lindhart also had that bad luck at Singapore, as we see Kayan go super deep at Remus turn 3 up the hill, and yeah, he is on a pair of wets at the moment, fresh wets, but through the first sector he was 5 tenths up on his own personal best, so finding time certainly out there. May have lost a little bit through the middle sector, but yeah, Lindhart certainly one of the ones who could be pushing for the championship at this stage. Matteo 2, Ivan Santamaria up there. Wildy not racing this week. Ivan Santamaria is racing this week, so he's in 11th, but also those Alfa Romeos, you can't rule anyone out. It is tight at the top of the points at the moment, as we see a new fastest lap from Snakes.
Very strong lap from Snakes. We've spoken about Snakes quite a bit over the last over the last race or two, especially back in France, where he was competing for the win. But as we saw there, Snakes needs. It's almost like with Snakes, I feel a bit sad for him because he almost struggles for consistency slightly, with especially when it comes to the races, because we saw in last race, I believe it was, that Snakes was up there fighting with Lindhart for the win, and then his lap time just seemed to drop a bit. Whether that's pressure or it's just he pushed too much too early, it all depends. But it will be important because Snakes is up there. You know, there's still a lot of races to this season, and the championship's still pretty close. So one win could really get Snakes up there fighting for the championship. But Snakes needs to really, if he really wants to have a chance, he really has to pull together a win or two this season and get back in with a chance.
I mean, yeah, but every race he's attended, he's been at least in the lead of the race at one point. Of course, last time out, it was the undercut from Lindhart that really worked out well for him, getting ahead of Snakes. In Singapore, he had that bad luck with that collision with Leonard Jask, and it wasn't even a collision, actually. It was just fighting with Leonard Jask and pushed too hard at the wrong time. So a little bit of inconsistency there, but he will take solace from the fact that he has been part of the race lead in all of the races he attended, and if he gets another win here today, he's currently in provisional pole position by 2 tenths. He certainly could be in for a chance of getting into the championship lead even today, as Kayan runs super wide around the final corner, and that invalidates his lap. That could have been enough to go into provisional pole position actually for Kayan, certainly into the top 5, but we won't know because he pushed too hard on that lap. Mika Biemp out there on a pair of intermediates goes super deep at the Lauder curve turn 1, so he isn't going to be any quicker. Kuiper's in the pits, but Sixten Lindhart currently in second position, coming around the final corner, and he is going to cross the line and start a lap, I believe, so he's going to be pushing on a pair of intermediates, which is a change for him because he originally set his first time on those wets, but super wide through the first corner. Would have been lost a little bit of time there, would have the AlphaTauri driver.
Currently I'm on board with our championship leader, Matteo. Very quiet session from him. He's left it till late, possibly just going for one run. Currently going purple in all sectors. Let's see what he can do. Struggling a little bit with oversteer, it seems, but that seems to be the same with most drivers now. Coming into the second to last corner, fast corner, he gets the apex. Matteo needs this front row. He needs to get onto the front row because it's so important around this track. And across the line, he goes fastest, not by much, but it's all he needs to be on provisional pole position at the moment. And Sixten Lindhart only 4 thousandths down from Matteo, so those intermediate tyres are really coming into effect now. Let's see what Lindhart can do. Again, 2 corners left. Second to last corner, it's a lot faster than Matteo through that last corner, so definitely. And again, a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of wheel spin, but across the line, it's massive. It's 3 tenths improvement from Sixten Lindhart and puts him in a very nice 1 tenth ahead of Matteo.
Yeah, so Matteo, Snakes will be happy that he set his time considerably earlier than the 2 ahead, and they've only found a 10th on that time. These conditions are going to improve all the time, and it very much could be a case of who is last over the line gets the fastest lap here. So it's all about track positioning here as we go into the final moments of this qualifying session. 5 minutes to go in the session, and we have all of our cars out on track except from Leonard Jask. Sixten Lindhardt currently at top position. I wonder if he'll go in for another pair of intermediates, and who's going to be coming over the line next. Mika Biemp, certainly a car who is pushing, but he is coming back to the pits. We have Timo Kuipers. He's out there pushing on a lap and coming around Rindt curve now and down towards the final corner, turn 10, and on his lap at the moment he's found a little bit of time over his personal best, and he'll jump up the order 7th here, so that's good from him. The other AlphaTauri of Sixten Lindhardt also out there pushing on another lap, and this is a double push for him. Coming over the line, he found a 10th through the first sector, fastest of all through the first sector, and finds a mega amount of time. That is 3.5 tenths over himself, and he currently has pole position by 4 tenths over Matteo. Those cars will of course come in and come out soon. Victor Widler jumps up into second position, so Widler up to second there, McLaren second and third. Snakes out there on a prep lap at the moment. I think everyone is out there on the pair of intermediates at the moment.
Yeah, Stella Artois coming round. I believe he's the next one. He's been a very consistent driver this season. Both of the Alfa Romeos have, but Stella Artois has really done quite a lot as he goes P2, 300ths of a provisional pole. This is going to be quite important. Will Sixten Lindhardt get back to the pits in time? Because if he doesn't, provisional pole could really be under threat from quite a few other drivers.
I think he'll have time for one more lap. If he goes in this lap, it's a very, very short circuit, so that is with him, and I think he'll just have enough time to get in and out. But we see the cars out in the pits at the moment. Matteo, Daniel, Kayan, Mika Biemp will go out, and actually Sixten Lindhardt is coming into the pits just a very... No, he isn't. He's actually opted to do a charge lap and will be going around on the same pair of intermediates that he set his previous 2 fastest laps on. So clearly heavily fueled up. That would explain why the pace was so slow on that first lap. But he's had a chance to recharge this time. I wonder if he'll recharge again. Victor Widler, meanwhile, has done that double push, and he'll have a slow lap again here, presumably, if he's gone for a similar strategy as Lindhardt. He is up to the top of the timing streams. It is a 13 flat, and we've seen times come down dramatically by 2 seconds already in this session. And as I said, last person over the line could very much take pole position here, as we see nearly everyone out on track. Stella Artois over the line now, so good from him. And now Snakes will be coming to the line. Will just hold out to see what he can do. Runs very wide out the final corner and then validates. He will have another attempt at a lap here. I wonder if he'll back out of this one and go for the final lap, or whether he'll just double push.
Yeah, definitely. It is risky though. It depends. Has he fueled up for it?
I think he's got a double push actually, because he's invalidated this lap as well. So he's got to do the slow and then push. So it may be he's not fueled enough.
But at the moment, Victor Widler, who is pushing, he has got the slight worries. Will these back markers get out of the way? They have, but he's backing off as well. Sixten Lindhardt as well, backing off. This has been another charge lap from Sixten Lindhardt. So back-to-back charge laps, very important. Trying to find somebody who is actually doing a lap. Emmy, at the moment, 7 tenths up. Big improvement. Let's see what Emmy can do. Across the line, it's P2 from Emmy. Oh, no, Alfa Romeo 1-2, you don't hear that much, but we're going to be hearing it today.
Yeah, Matty just starting a lap with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. If he's timed this right, he may have time for 2 laps here, 2 push laps. We'll see if that goes with him over the line. I believe that was Leonard Jask. He's just starting a lap at the moment. Towards turn 1 he goes. Snakes currently down in P10, and he is now doing his final lap here. So he's had to recharge, and he has had enough fuel to go for it here. So Snakes, who was at the top of the timing screens not too long ago, has fallen all the way down to P10. Stella Artois also crossing the line for their final push lap to start it now. Mika Biemp, he's coming to the line. I don't think he's on a quick lap at the moment. Actually, no, he is quickest through the first sector, and quick through the middle sector, and it's quick through all 3 sectors. He's took provisional pole by 3 tenths of a second. So that is the benchmark that has been set by our drivers. I think that was Kuipers coming over the line. He's improved his time. Up to 7th he goes, but he's going to have to find a bit more time. He's got enough EOS charge to go again. Moreover, Matteo coming through the first corner now, and Victor Widler, he will come over the line. Has he done enough to improve his time? He hasn't, but he has got time to go again. Again, Stella Emmy coming over the line, and Matty to the top of the timing screens now. So quick laps from Matty through the middle sector. Ivan Santamaria is in 6th position at the moment. He's gone fastest through the middle sector. That's a purple time for him. So we could see Ivan Santamaria, if he gets the final 2 corners of Rint and turn 10 correct, he will come to the line. And will he do enough to go to the top of the timing screens? Snakes goes into 2nd, and it's Ivan Santamaria up to the top of the timing screens now. Leonard Jask is slow through the middle sector. Danielle has only been able to improve to 8th position. Stella Artois up into 4th. We now have Mika Biemp coming around the final corner. He's invalidated, so he won't be improving. Cayenne, he's down in 13th somehow. He's coming around the final corner. Found 5 tenths through the middle sector. It'll be enough to put him up into 6th position. Final corner now as well for Timo Kuipers, and he comes across the line. He can only improve up to 5th position. Now, Victor Widler, he is coming towards turn 9. Matteo also coming around the final corner. He, I think, has pitted, so a pit for Matteo, actually a spin for Matteo on the start finish straight, so he was pushing, and he'll be starting in 13th for our championship leader. Victor Woodler improves to 5th, and over the line for Emmy. I think that is it, Leonard Jask done out of it, and that is it. Ivan Santamaria has took pole position here by 1/2 tenth of a second from Matty. Snakes will be disappointed with 3rd position overall, but it will be Matteo who's lost out the most, spinning around the final corner. It was a quick lap from him too. He'd found 1 second over the first 2 sectors, so it could have been enough to certainly put him into the top 5, but that spin, we'll never know what that lap time was.
Yeah, Matteo was improving slightly. It would have, at the time, it would have put him, I believe it would have put him up into, I believe it was down 4th place, so it would have been still a very good lap time. But we've got to talk about one driver, Sixten Lindhardt. He finished 11th.
Yeah,
and I think what happened, he was on fastest lap. Even with the latest lap time, it still would have been pole. But he went wide on the second to last corner, but he got invalidated for the next lap as well. Yeah, and so he lost it, sadly.
So quickly, let's go through the standings and jump to an ad. So Santamaria will take pole for the Austrian Grand Prix. Round 4, PSGL F5 coming up very soon. Matty in 2nd. Snakes in 3rd. Stella Artois, again consistent from the Alfa Romeos. He's in 4th. Victor Widler's in 5th. Timo Kuipers, he'll be happy with that. That will be somewhere to work from, certainly in the race. 6th position for the Dutchman. Mika Biemp, the French driver, in 7th position for the Silver Arrows. 8th is Emmy. 9th is Cayenne. And Daniel in the reserve role, getting into the top 10. Sixten Lindhardt, Leonard Jack and Massio round out the grid. We're going to jump over to an ad and then be right back. Welcome back to a rainy conditions again at the start of the race. We have wet conditions. We saw it in qualifying. We're going to see it for the start of the race. It's round 4 of the Austrian Grand Prix. If you're interested in buying any GTO Amigo projects, we've just seen one just there, you can use PSGL at checkout for 5% off, so always worth knowing that. But yeah, here we are. We're going to have straight to the grids, lights out, so we'll just hype this up. But it's going to be of course Ivan Santamaria on pole position. Do you think he can go and lead the rest of the race from here if he gets to the first corner first?
He proved to be fastest on those inters, but we've got to see, because a few drivers made mistakes, and so there could be quite a few more drivers in this battle for the race lead. Yep,
so we'll have the light sequence straight away here as we head into round 4. It's 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And PSGL go racing in Austria, and it's a good start from Snakes, who looks to go around the outside of Matty. Ivan Santamaria to be able to hold the lead into turn 1. Snakes makes the move around the outside for second position. That was supreme stuff from both drivers to keep it clean through there. So easy to have mistakes further down the order. Victor Widler has climbed into 5th position. Stella Artois down into 6th. Emmy has done well. He's looking up the inside of his teammate, and actually Matty is shuffled out at the front. Kuipers up 3 positions. positions at the start. He started in 6th position as he climbed the order. Now he's looking at 2nd place in the race, and that is superb start from Kuipers as we see more too wide down to Schloss Gold. Victor Widler trying to go at the inside of Matty, who's fallen down from 2nd on the grid here, and he will be around the outside at turn 7 if he gets that move done. But Matty will certainly aim to keep a couple of wheels in, because that will be the inside of turn 8 as well. And can he get that move done? It will be the outside for turn 9, and I think he's just going to get shuffled out here, because again it will be the outside of turn 9 of Rindt. But actually Victor Widler falls just behind, and Matty gets back into 4th position there. It's an electric start for Timo Kuipers there.
Yeah, very good start for Timo Kuipers. Definitely in for the fight for a podium, as we know. Ivan Tatsamir still leading. Good start from him. But looking further back too, some of our championship contenders, our championship leader gets knocked down to 12th, while our driver, who is definitely looking like in the hotspot for the championship, Sixten Lindhart, is going for a move on Emmy. Into turn 3, he gets it done. He gets the move done before turn 3. Very good from Sixten Lindhart there. But what a start that was! Of course, we know it's intermediate conditions, so anything could happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's going to go wetter or drier in the race. Current forecast is 69% chance of rain, as Widler almost gets it too hot and into the back of Matty there, just over egging it into Schloss Gold. Matteo has got into 10th position. He's by Mika Biemp, and the challenge of overtaking here in these wet conditions is absolutely intensified, because of course you do not have the DRS activation during the wet conditions, so it means that all of the on-track overtaking has to be done through pure skill alone.
Yeah, that's going to make it very tough. You know, these drivers all season have had DRS. You know, they've never had a race so far this season where they haven't had DRS. And so it's going to be very important to who... It's going to be actually quite good, because I think without DRS, we're going to see who actually has the pace. But as we look a bit further up ahead, I believe we're looking at a possible move from... I'm trying to find somebody.
Well, Daniel's actually having a move on Leonard Jask, his teammate, up towards turn 3 at the moment. And that is a fight for 12th position, the back of the grid. But they are fighting nevertheless. And Daniel just eased out there in a better exit of turns 3 towards Schloss Gold they go, and that is the end of that fight. Stella Artar in 6th position, only 2 tenths behind Victor Widler, but unable to make a move that lap. And certainly they'll be hoping for drying conditions in this race if they are going to see the activation of that DRS. At the front, Snakes has already fallen a second behind Ivan Santamaria. We're speaking how he was in the championship home without a win. Maybe it could be his first win of the season here.
Yeah, definitely. And also Timo Kuipers as well is about a second off. So we're starting to see the grid split a little bit here. And this is what really proves who has good pace and who doesn't. So we see a bit of a moment towards the back of the grid.
Yeah,
between
Leonard Jask
and Leonard Jask. It's an interesting race for Mika. Only down 4 places. He doesn't seem to have damage though. But we're seeing a bit of 2021 of the real life season. Mercedes versus Red Bull here. This time it's for P11, so a very different position. But Mika is actually putting in the fastest first sector, so far, very good for him. But we've got to talk about that start from Sixten Lindhart, up 4 places, chasing down Stella Artois and Victor Widler for a top 5 finish. Where do you think he's going to finish? He's doing a bit of a Max Verstappen here.
Yeah, he's certainly coming through the order and hoping to use that Red Bull Powertrains unit to get him up through the order as well. Just behind Stella Artois at the moment, it depends about how quickly he can clear these cars and prove through the pack, as Artois has a huge moment out of turn 8. That will mean he's maybe susceptible down to turn 9, not really an overtaking opportunity at the best of times. Sixten Lindhart, experience, knows that one, and not able to make and capitalise on that mistake from Artois. He'll be hoping that he makes a mistake into an easier overtaking opportunity, maybe out of turn 1 here, then louder curve, as actually Sixten Lindhart, who actually carries a little bit too much speed and has to scrub it off, but he is closing and closing on the straighter parts of the circuit and maybe thinking about a move up into turn 3. At the moment, he'll have the inside line and they'll just try to ease the Alfa Romeo out. He certainly does, and that means that Stella Artois could be under threat from his teammate Emi. 8th position is what Emi's in at the moment. He's looking to get into 7th, but I think he's just a little bit too far. Sixten Linhart into 6th there. All fair, in your opinion, on that move?
It's very difficult. Of course, it depends on the POV of each driver for Stella Artois. From Sixten Linhart's POV, which I was looking at, it seemed fine. It looked like Stella Artois just tried to hang it in there with no real chance. But from Stella Artois' onboard camera, it might be very different for him. It might show possibly being pushed off when he should have been left space. But we'll have to see. That might be one for the stewards to make a decision if it is reported. But it is just, and if it is like that, it reminds me of the 2019 move between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc into turn 3. That really did. But I think it's just a small on-track collision, a bit of pushing and shoving, but it is just a racing incident.
Awesome. Right, okay, so Matteo in 10th position, our championship leader. He is well down the order and looking at his championship lead fading away to the likes of Santa Maria, Snakes, Vidler. All of those could certainly take it. Linhart as well, but he needs to start making places. It'd be 1 point for 10th position at the moment, but he's on the back of this chain of cars behind Stella Artois, and he's doing a stellar job at keeping the other cars behind. Emi, his teammate, in 8th position, looking for a way through. No room at the end anywhere there, and yeah, I think that is the battle, the main battling on track. At the front, Ivan Santamaria has just edged his lead out by 2 or 3 tenths on that lap, so maybe just a quick mistake from Snakes, but Snakes did put in the fastest middle sector of all, as we reminded you, all of our drivers on the intermediate tyres, but penalties starting to rack up here. We spoke about it in the qualifying, how easy it is to rack up some penalties in the pre-race, and Victor Widler and Daniel already having 3 seconds worth of time penalties. That could come back to bite them.
Yeah, it definitely will, but this is what Sixten Linhart wants, isn't it? Sort of the real driver in this championship, off of last race, fighting for this championship with Matteo struggling. This is what Linhart needs, other drivers to get penalties and to get him ahead, but he is having a small issue with getting past Victor Vidler. We've known Victor Vidler, though, for having a very good defence with other drivers. He's very strong with that. I would say definitely that's his strength, but I can confirm the rain has stopped.
Yes.
And so it is going to be going dry, most likely, unless it starts raining right after I say this. But yeah, honestly, this is going to be a very important moment. This is where we're going to see if the drivers have gone for dry setups or who's going to be the strongest in the dry. And Sixten Linhart has chosen to go into the pits now. Very early call. In my opinion, it's just a bit too early.
It's a very bold strategy from Linhart as his teammate Kuipers sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, just slightly faster than Snakes on that lap, who's ahead of him, but he's not the only car choosing to come into the pits, and they're further down the order, so feel like they have less to lose. It'll be the hard tyres, so it'll be super hard to get any heat into those tyres, but Matteo also going for the early pit stops. We'll see how they do, and it's straight away wobbly at pit exit. Difficult to get the traction down. We'll see how he does before he gets back onto the straight and narrow and that drying line on the circuit. But Linhart and Matteo taking a gamble and going early. Could it be a Button in 2010 Australia and prove successful, or will it be a Vettel Turkey in 2021? Was it, or 2022? I got 2020.
Massive lockup from Sixten Linhart. These are definitely not the tyres. They've gone too early.
Yeah, Matteo struggling out there as well, and that'll be at least something that the engineers for the drivers will be keeping an eye on and feeding back to their teammates. Sixten Linhart, of course, felt like they didn't have too much to lose. And we see Sixten Linhart running super deep and into the gravel at Schloss Gold, and Matteo could even maybe go for an overtake. He has to go out onto the wetter line, and that means he loses grip, and Linhart is going to be up the inside here, and if they're not careful, they're going to ram each other off the track, and they certainly won't have any chance of taking any further part in this race. These two absolutely tipping tiptoeing around and also trying not to trip around each other. That is difficult for them, and we don't see any other driver actually pit at the moment. So this has been a gamble too early, as we see the chance of rain drop down to 44%. It was 70% at the start of this race, so it's absolutely fallen down. So it will get drier and it will go to dries, but these two drivers have gone too early.
Yeah, that's the risk they took. Sadly, they did take it. I did straight away, as soon as I saw Sixten Lindhardt go to the pits, I knew it was a massive mistake to make. And there goes Matteo and Sixten Lindhardt. Both drivers, the fact that in 6th gear they're still struggling for grip proves that they've gone too early. But taking our eyes from the back of the grid to the front of it, Snakes has gotten back within a second of Ivan Santamaria, and I know why. Because currently Ivan Santamaria is running with less than 10% ERS, which affects the power by about between 3 to 4 miles an hour. Basically, affects the straight line speed, and so there's actually quite a big reduction. Now, if we remember, that's around the difference between no slipstream and slipstream, and so that's going to be quite important for Ivan Santamaria. But it is drying up, and so these drivers are just trying to keep their tyres cool, remember, because the Inters aren't made for dry conditions, and so they're going to be heating up quite quickly, and it might become quite difficult to drive. But now, I think everybody's tiptoeing their way around the track.
Yeah, everyone just trying to keep it on the tarmac and keep it going in the right direction so they can close in during the later stages of the race. Also keeping an eye on that 1 second gap as we get closer to DOS becoming something that can happen, as Matteo spins and he's out of the session, and that could bring out a safety car. It does bring out a safety car here, and now this is an interesting opportunity for our drivers, and we see them all dive straight to the right hand side to pit, because if they don't pit now they will be stranded on those wet tyres, and our championship leader out of the race. We will see a new championship leader leaving the Austrian circuit, so we will see if that's Ivan Santamaria, Snakes, Kuipers, Lindhardt. It'd be a big stretch for him, but Lindhardt really has his blushes saved by that safety car.
Yeah, he does, but who's going to come out where? Matty's been held up slightly. We see Emmy being held up by his teammate because of double stacking. It hasn't worked for Alfa Romeo there, so a bit of a risky one there, but it hasn't worked out. Let's see how the drivers come out of the pits. Any issues with any of the drivers? We'll see, as I do believe they will be very careful off of this exit, as their tyres are cold anyway. Quite a few drivers getting a bit slippery and all over the place, but Sixten Lindhardt still nowhere to be seen. Still on the other side of the track, so he's got a long way to catch up, but it is getting drier. But it's quite strange because the track's getting drier quite slowly compared to what we usually see on F1 22. Usually we see within 5-6 laps it's fine, but it's been about 8 laps now, and it is still wet.
Is there any part of you that's thinking, I'm Sixten Lindhardt, I'm in 12th position. Victor Vidler's actually had a moment there, and he is falling further down the order. Maybe even lost a front wing, or maybe I can't see any wing damage on him, but he has lost a handful of positions there. But going back to what I was saying, do you think it's worth going back to the Inters and seeing if you can have more pace and confidence, or do you just think it's always going to get drier? There's no way he'd create a gap on the intermediates to be able to pit for those dry tyres?
Well, no, not really. The fact that it probably will be dry at least around lap 18 or 19, in my opinion. Probably earlier than that, maybe lap 15 or 16. But it does actually look like it might be starting to rain again. I'm going to look to the front. It is. I
think the forecast has dropped further for me, so I can't see any rain on my screen.
So still, for that though, it is showing that maybe. But the thing is, if it's only going to last maybe, because the track is almost entirely dry now.
Yeah.
It might only last maybe one lap, 1 or 2 laps, and it's not worth the risk. But the good thing for Sixten Lindhardt is that he can catch up.
He can
And
catch up.
so,
Yep,
and so that will help.
I'm going to draw the viewer's attention though. He's got hards that are 4-lap old, so he's going to find it absolutely miserable to carve through the pack. I'm sure he'll give it a good go. Of course, race winner last time out at France, but he has got a long way to go to get back into the fight here at the front. We'll see if he's able to do it. The pack has been closed down, and yeah, if you're interested in any PSGL, in any GT Amiga products, you can type !GT Amiga in chat, PSGL at checkout for 5% off. We have the safety car in this lap, so of course a very short circuit. That means it gets really done quickly. It feels like an eternity behind safety car tracks like Belgium and Singapore, but very quick here because of the quick lap times we have. And Ivan Santamaria will take control of the Grand Prix once again. So he did build that gap to over a second on those wet tyres, but we'll be able to see who has got the dry conditions on lock in these first few laps. Snakes will be eyeing up a attempt at Ivan Santamaria straight away, but also aware that it's really difficult for the car in second to have a good start. Still seeing wet on the surface as we come through the penultimate corner, the Rind curve, named after the posthumous world champion of 1970. But as we come around the final corner now, Ivan Santamaria gets the power down, and Snakes will look backwards. He has actually got a good start compared to Ivan Santamaria, and Timo Kuipers is the one who's struggling. Also, Matti falling down the order. Victor Widler trying to make up lost ground straight away up the inside at Emmy at turn 1. They go too wide route through there, and there's a little bit of contact on exit furthermore, and now it'll be a straight, flat-out run up to turn 3.
Oh, and there's a battle for the lead between Snakes and Ivan Santamaria. Snakes trying to make the move. Can he get the exit? No, he can't at the moment, but looking further back, we're seeing a battle between Matti and Timo Kuipers over P3. And here he comes again. Snakes wanting to go round the outside. It's not going to work again, is it? With the bit of contact to look like there, but side by side still. And there goes Snakes into the lead. Oh, that was close between Ivan Santamaria and Snakes. But Snakes, for the first time in this race, he takes the lead. But for Snakes, it means he's leading a race once again. He's kept to the 100% record of leading a race. As we see Matti, who lost out his battle. We're seeing a bit of a battle between Emmy and Victor Vidler still further back. But what an interesting lap one.
Yeah, absolutely. Snakes being able to actually put a bit of pressure and drop Ivan Santamaria. Kuipers was also under pressure that lap from Matti, but Matti again now on the back foot with Stella Artois right on the back of him. No DRS this time around, but those wet conditions are certainly starting to dry off here, and I wonder if we'll have DRS active on the next lap. I think we have reached a point where the track is dry enough. Towards turn 3 they go up the hill, and the run down towards turn 4. Stella Artois right on the back of Matti, but just losing out a little bit there. Sixten Lindhart up into 10th position. He's made up 2 positions at the start here, and now runs downhill and will try and go down the outside of the sister Red Bull car at Schloss Gold. That doesn't work out, but he does a similar move to Snakes. The switchback works, and he's up into 9th position, so he is a man who's angry and on the move. Next up is Victor Widler, who has that time penalty already, but Sixten Lindhart will be trying to carve his way through the pack using every little bit of track limits. As we jump back to the front, Kuipers only 4 attempts behind Ivan Santamaria, and Ivan Santamaria is absolutely doing everything to stay within that DRS range of the car in front. He's just stayed within 7/10 as Ivan Santamaria does set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but we don't see DRS active, so it is still too wet for DRS out there. So these cars that have maybe spent a little bit too much ERS will be struggling with that, as we see Rain still flicking up onto the TV camera here. Artois going for a move on Matti around the outside at turn 3. He's going to have better traction off the top, and Matti will actually be under pressure from the Aston Martin, having a little bit of a moment, and DRS is enabled at that perfect time down towards turn 4, Schloss Gold. Around the outside we've seen this switchback happen, but Matti hangs it up the inside. There's a little bit of contact between the Haas and the Aston Martin. The Haas will have a better run towards turn 6, but it is Cayenne who will get that position.
Very important move there, but it's going to be important for Ivan Santamaria, who is chasing down Snakes within 4/10 now. He's pushed quite a lot this lap, but it also doesn't look like he's used lots of ERS, so it looks like he might just have the pace. Look at how much he is pushing through the fast corners. He definitely has some pace over Snakes. And now with the DRS, I think he's going to go for a move into turn 3, as Timo Kuipers is also sitting in here, waiting for something to happen, waiting for a mistake from one of these two drivers. Let's see what's going to happen. Timo Kuipers is pushing. Here comes... Ooh,
big lag
there. Oh, that was scary for a minute. But now, into turn 3, he's going for it. Timo Kuipers around the outside. No, it doesn't work, sadly. But now he will have DRS onto the second straight. Here he comes into turn 4. What can he do? Onto the brakes. He's gone lay on the brakes. He's still got Snake's bit of contact. And Timo Kuipers takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, Kuipers up into first position. He was battling with Ivan Santamaria 2 weeks ago, and I thought there was going to be contact when there was lag, but actually he's turned a bad meal into a good meal here, and he's took the lead of the Grand Prix. But that DRS is going to be so potent and powerful for Snakes and Ivan Santamaria behind, and that battling has also allowed Stella Artois just to creep back into this one as well. He's going to become part of this train and fight. That means Cayenne just behind will be able to come involved as well. So Stella Artois will try to close up at the front. But let's not forget, Snakes only 3 tenths behind Kuipers here, and Kuipers will know it's a long way to go, and that will not be the only time that Snakes leads the Grand Prix as they head up towards Remus. Turn 3 here. Up the hill they go. Later on the brakes than you'd expect because of the natural gravity slowing the cars down. But now towards Schloss Gold they'll go, and it's a bit of a bad exit actually for Snakes. So I don't think he'll have an opportunity to overtake on this lap, but Kuipers will maintain the lead just for this lap. It's 2 tenths is the gap. Stella Artois still closing in the background. Matty not too far adrift either. He's under pressure from Emmy, and actually Sixten Lindhart only 3 tenths behind this battle. Daniel's fallen down to the bottom of the field after battling with his teammate, the Red Bull. He's going to try and come back towards Roush, and there's contact, and there's actually a little bit of contact between the Red Bull, if that's just about okay, I think. And Victor Widler actually gets back up into 7th position now after battling with Emmy right behind there, and Sixten Lindhart will just want to get by as quickly as possible and get out of the scrap here in the midfield, because he wants to be part of that battle at the front. Only 1 tenth is the gap as he goes towards Lauder Curve. It's such a difficult corner to overtake at, and isn't best situated to do so. Closes down, but does not go for the overtake. Now he's right behind Emmy here, and he does have overspeed towards turn 3. He'll have the better line going into it as well, but Emmy will try to stick up the inside, and he doesn't manage to do it. So it's the 69 numbered Sixten Lindhart now right behind Victor Widler again for 7th position. He's trying to get back into this fight, and he's really not too far behind the lead of the race, and of course it's his teammate Kuipers who leads the race. So if they share similar setups and strategy, then those two could certainly be on for good points in the constructors today.
Yes, definitely. But looking back to this fight in front between Snakes, Timo Kuipers and Ivan Santamaria, and Stella Artois and Kine, all in this battle here, Timo Kuipers seems really strong on the straights. Just with even without using overtake, he just seems really strong on the straights. And I think Snakes has gone for more of a downforce base setup. Same with, I think, Ivan Santamaria as well. And I think that's what's losing these two out, making an overtake really into turn 3. We see Snakes, you can see here he's not closing up massively. He should be having on that straight. I typically, with my setup, I typically have around 198 to 200 miles an hour speed. Plus with that slipstream as well, I really expected to see more straight line speed from Ferrari and Williams, but they both seem to just be struggling a bit. But this is important for Timo Kuipers, and possibly he knows that he's gone with a lower downforce setup, but it seems to be also quite good in the corners as well. So possibly Timo Kuipers has found this really good setup that's working everywhere on track, and just the other drivers are just, trying to find out where is he actually gaining this time, and how is he staying in front if he's so fast on the straights.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, Snakes is he's just not close enough.
He does have a massive EOS deficit compared to Ivan Santamaria and Snakes. So Snakes and Santamaria maybe just choosing to bide their time in the slipstream and keep a higher charge of ERS. Artois also not too far adrift of this battle. Cayenne certainly in the train. Matty just falling back lap after lap, and Sixten Lindhart's charge up the field not managing to close down, but 3/10 is the gap. A big slide for Kuipers out of turn 3, and Snakes will maybe think about the move as Jask has fallen down. Mika Biemp has actually had a moment and fallen down the order as well, but will maintain the focus at the front here. Snakes closes down on Kuipers. Towards Schlossgold they go on lap 20, but again not quite close enough. Even with that mistake from Kuipers, he definitely has that top end speed advantage, and that will be very, very helpful, even if he's not able to recharge that ERS, because he doesn't have the benefit of DRS at the moment. But Snakes will just be eyeing up an opportunity, but maybe he knows, if I just hang out here, keep my ERS high, he keeps his ERS low, then towards the end of the race I can go for something if I can maintain this gap at the moment. But 5/10 is the gap as they go over the line onto lap 21. Daniel picks up another 3-second time penalty. That's a huge amount of penalties he's carrying. 12 seconds. Victor Vidler also having 3 seconds of penalties, and Mika Biemp also having penalties. Ivan Santamaria is starting to close down on Snakes a little bit, and he may be thinking about a move into turn 3. He certainly goes for the inside line. They go too wide, and it'll be a better drive for Snakes, but Timo Kuipers will be saying, yes please, battle all day, because that will break the toe. And these two both have DRS on the run down to Schlossgold. Snakes isn't giving up this one too easy, but he'll recognise that it's better for them to work together. But no, there's the switchback, and it's going to be the quickest run down to Roush. This turn 6 here, and Ivan Santamaria just outside of the DRS. As we see, Daniel has retired from the session. I don't know what's happened to him at the first corner. I don't know if that will require a safety car or not. We certainly haven't seen one yet, but Ivan Santamaria out of the second toe here, but he'll have to be burning his ERS to get back into that DRS toe here. Kuipers will be absolutely pushing to break it too. It does just dip under a second, but I don't think he'll have DRS down this main straight. He'll have to burn ERS to get back into it, and he does just do it. But look, there's a car stricken on the racing line there. How the safety car didn't come out, I don't know, but it just disappeared in time. Kuipers would have had his heart in his mouth there, and actually further down the order for 5th position and 4th position, Cayenne looking to go up the inside, the outside rather, of turn 3 and around Stella Artois, and Stella Artois loses that position. He's down to 5th position, but those two also battling in the back, and those two so lucky not to lose touch with Kuipers. Lucky that he didn't have much ERS to burn, because I think that could have been game set match if he just broke that toe.
Yeah, definitely. But Kai, we've got to talk about this guy. Up 5 places this race. The only driver to really gain that the only other driver to gain that many places is Timo Kuipers at the moment, our race leader. But Kain is really going fast at the moment, and his pace is currently around 2 to 3 tenths faster a lap than anybody else on track. Which is going to be a very important thing for these drivers to know. But we see, just looking a little bit further up the grid, to Timo Kuipers, he's dropped a lot of time on his last lap. A couple of mistakes, he saw a lock-up. I believe it was into turn 3, has lost him about 2 tenths there, I would say. But now, Ivan Santamaria, he wants to get his race lead back. He wants to get up into the race lead once again. Here we go, into turn 3. Is he going to look for it? No, he isn't. He's playing it smart. He's playing it safe, really. The idea of a dive bomb there would be massive. But on to the second straight now, and again, not close enough. It just seems like Timo Kuipers just seems to have the exits of every corner down really well, and nobody else can seem to be able to touch him, really.
Yeah, he's doing a supreme job out there, and maintaining the leader race for much longer than I thought he would be able to. I thought it would be a bit of a DRS switcheroo situation, but he has maintained it for 5 or 6 laps now, and Ivan Santamaria just behind. He overtook Snakes to be second incumbent in this race, but he's not managed to close down on these laps, but maybe towards Lauderkirch he'll close down. 3 tenths is the gap here, and this will be a bit closer than last time, so you'd have to expect to move up to turn 3 if he can have a good exit of turn 1 here. But Kuipers managed to get the power down nicely again, and Ivan Santamaria just closing, and you do see the gap close for about 1/10, but he needs it to close 2 or 3 tenths. It's going to be on the braking here and on the exit, whether a move will get done or not here, and 3-4 tenths is the gap. He's going to have to burn a bit of EOS to make the overtake now, and he chooses not to. So this is just tactical waiting in the wings here, and I wonder when the battling will start to kick off between these top 5. Remember, all the top 5 in a train here. Victor Widler has got by Matty in the background, so Victor Widler up into 6th position. He has that 3-second penalty, and Matty and Lindhart, who was at the back of the grid so recently, battling for 7th position, but he gets pushed out a little bit, does he? And yeah, he doesn't get Matty just yet, but he's right behind is Lindhart, and thinking about a move into Rindt, it'd be dangerous to do so. Sometimes you see it, but it's usually a reckless one. Lindhart, race winner last time out in France, decides better of it, and he is of course closing down into a position. He's in a position where he's on older tyres than the rest of the people in front of him, so he's doing well to overtake the people he has done. But Kuipers again has a bit of a lead over Ivan Santamaria. Santamaria's not been able to close down, and actually Snakes is maybe the one who's going to put pressure on here, down and up into turn 3, down into Schloss Gold, but it's just so difficult to follow cars neatly through there. Kuipers maybe has a little bit of a wobble in the front, but he had such a sufficient gap anyway that it is stalemate at the front once again.
Yeah, definitely. Snakes has gone a little bit deep. But talking about drivers struggling to get through the grid is Sixten Lindhart. He is really struggling as he's actually dropping off around a second now. But I don't know what has happened to Sixten Lindhart. He had such a charge early on in this race, at the start of the race if we remember, and also on the safety car restart. But it just seems like he's almost lost confidence with his tyres, and he's also making a couple of small mistakes. And that is really costing him now. And he's got to get back within DRS. Well, he's got to get back within a chance with Matty. But looking back to the front of the grid, we keep on saying every lap something's got to happen. But Ivan Santamaria, I would say he's just about close enough to make a move. Let's see what he can do into turn 3. Don't get your hopes up just yet, because we know it's been a lot of false attempts. But again, you see, it's almost just like Timo Kuipers just seems to have this better braking and cornering and also traction. So it seems like things have switched slightly from the better straight line speed to now stronger cornering.
Yeah, keep Kuipers doing a supreme job to lead this.
Big wobble!
Oh, and Kuipers, yeah, it's just as you say it. He's had a supreme job, but as Frank Sinatra would say, something's got to give, and he has a bit of a wobble. Ivan Santamaria will see that as an incentive. Again, wide through the second part of this infield, running through turns 8, up to Rindt they'll go. The gap 3 attempts here, and Kuipers is just about recovered from that, but clearly suffering with a bit of thermal degradation of those tyres, and that means that Santamaria is right on the back of Kuipers, has a full charge of ERS to attack Kuipers. Maybe he thinks this is the time to attack in that Williams car, take the lead of the race, and potentially take the lead of the championship. The gap 3.5 tenths as they go between turns 2 and turns 4, and he'll close and close. He won't be close enough for an attack into turn 3. Actually a little bit late on the brakes, was he? But he's a big moment for Ivan Santamaria, and that will maybe give the incentive to Snakes to attack. He's too far back, so it's a game of cat and mouse and tit for tat on the mistakes that the drivers are making. But the top 5, the top 6 now, all within the DRS chain. Victor Widler has done supreme to get back into this battle, but Sixten Lindhart really has fallen off. I agree. Emmy's also fallen off. I wonder if they've had a bit of a wobble together, because they are quite far behind. But
Sixten Lindhart and Matty, who had a collision into turn 4. That's why there was a yellow flag. Matty has had to pit, and Sixten Lindhart gets a 3-second penalty for track limits. But yeah, again, it's proven to be a difficult one here. But Ivan Santamaria, talking about a difficult one, Ivan Santamaria has had massive difficulties with overtaking Timo Kuipers, but he is close enough now. He's going to make the move.
Yeah, surely has to go for the attack sooner or later. Otherwise, Snakes is going to get so impatient. He may just go for something. Time is running out. Only 8 laps left in this Grand Prix. It's gone like an absolute flash. And Kuipers, who's led the race for most of the time on these dry tyres, finally under attack from Ivan Santamaria. It'll be the long way around the outside at Schloss Gold, and we do see that move sometimes pay off, because it will become the inside of turn 6. Roush, and there will be contact between the two. They keep it clean. Of course, they came together last time in France. A bit of running each other off the road maybe, and there's almost more contact, and Kuipers does everything to keep him behind at this stage. Maybe it's better for him just to drop behind and charge that EOS, but Snakes is right behind, and Snakes will be looking to go and attack Ivan Santamaria as they head onto lap 29 here. That was some really tight racing. Expect Santamaria to go for another move here. He's kept the gap really low. It's about a second splitting the top 5 in this race. It's such small margins as they head towards turn 3 for the 29th time, and it is going to be Santamaria a 10th and a half down. What do you think about the move into turn 3? He looks to the inside, he releases the braking a little bit, always dangerous to do that, runs Kuipers out wide, and Kuipers will be under pressure from Snakes here, and Snakes may think about 2 for 1, but Snakes too far back certainly. Kuipers falling down into 3rd position. He'll be frustrated with being run off again by Ivan Santamaria, and Cayenne will even think about a move on the AlphaTauri, who's led so much this race, but that does just give him an opportunity to build his DRS, and he'll be quick to come back to the front, I think.
Yeah, definitely difficult one for Timo Kuipers. Just a bit of a mistake into turn 1 and off for the exit. It looks like it's just the rear of the car just got a bit loose. But now he will have DRS. He is low on EOS, but he will have DRS now, and that is the important part that he's going to be able to keep up now. But he is going a bit deep into the corners. He is having to defend from Kine, remember, but he is able to keep up. But now we're going to see back to the fight we've had for quite a while, but a fight that we had more for the race start between Ivan Santamaria and Snakes. Snakes, he's gotten so close to wins before. He wants it now. And into turn 3, down on the inside. He has it. He takes the corner. Bit of wheel spin, not enough grip. But neither of them have DRS.
Yeah, very close, and they go over the line too close for it to be called, and actually Kuipers and Cayenne battling in the background. Snakes is just about going to maintain that position. Ivan Santamaria has a wobble. That affects Kuipers because he doesn't get the run he wants, and now he's under pressure from Stella Artois. Where has he come from? Up the inside at turn 6 he'll go, and he'll push out the AlphaTauri again. He's getting pushed out all over the place, but he'll just hanging out there. The inside of turn 8 it will be, and the inside of Vint and turn 10, but these two battling, they could lose place with the top runners here. Kuipers just about keeps the nose ahead. Stella Artois backs out of it, and just inside the DRS here. Super under pressure is Kuipers. He's led for so long, but his ERS charge is very low, and that means that he's clipping down the straight once again, having to battle back. Snakes resumes the lead of the race again. He only led for about a lap, but he's got back up there. Ivan Santamaria will be in the hot seat to overtake him again, and Timo Kuipers will just do everything to keep the cars behind, and I think he just wants it to settle down for the next couple of laps. He wants to build a bit of charge and capitalise at the end of the race here.
Yeah, definitely. He needs this now. Timo Kuipers needs to get back within this battle for P1. He needs to fight for this race win. And Kine fighting with Victor Vidler here. Victor Vidler out of nowhere, just like Stella Artois. He's out of nowhere, coming now through. Can he get it through the left-hander? There's another left-hander coming up. Roughly the same in rotation, but no, it is a safe defense from Kine. Stay in front, but he's lost time to Stella Artois. But could we be seeing Stella Artois as a possible race fight for Stella Artois? We weren't saying this in qualifying. He might have started P4, but everybody's paces looked very good, and he's been a bit unlucky this race. But he is right there. But so is Timo Kuipers. What some pace over that one lap. He's just gone about half a second. Collision further back between Kine and Victor Vidler, I believe that was. And now, I'm not sure what happened there, but that allows Emmy to get up into 5th place. What a return from Emmy.
Yeah.
From P9 to P5.
Those Alfa Romeos are going to get good points again today.
Yeah, and as it stands, I actually believe they're going to take the Constructors' Championship lead at the moment. So that's going to be a very important one. Very happy for the two Alfa Romeo drivers. But remember, they are drivers. They are still opponents on track. And one of them is in the fight for a possible podium. The other is just in their own zone, being able to stay there. But I'm not sure what happened between Kine and Victor Vidler there. It looked like just a turn 1 collision. But we'll have to look back possibly in the stewards' reports if there are any about that incident. But now we're back onto this battle for the lead of the race. Ivan Santamaria falling off of Snake slightly, but he has more EOS, although it's just a small amount more. Kai now has a 5-second. He's out. Kai is out. He has retired from the race. I suspect that was body damage. Usually when a driver with tyres,
Kuiper's battling into second position, and this is crucial, of course. Oh, it just etched out a little bit there, but I want to say he's still clipping down the straights. The light's still flashing for Kuiper's. He's not managing to build that charge, and he'll need it if he wants to attack the lead of this race. Artois not doing great either, just a little brief light flash for him down the end of the straight as well there, but Ivan Santamaria looking in the pound seat to do something here, because he's just following Snakes around. 4 tenths, 5 tenths is the gap. Snakes, of course, finishing second last time out. He led for parts of the Grand Prix, battling with Sixten Lindhardt. He just lost out. He'll be looking for his first race win. Ivan Santamaria will be looking for his first race win. Kuipers and Artois looking for the first race win here. Any 4 of them could win it with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, this is what they need today. They really need to do this. It's been a frustrating race for Ivan Santamaria. He got into the lead, but he's had unlucky circumstances, being sandwiched between drivers, being knocked on the rear a couple of times this race. But now he is under threat from Timo Kuipers, but he's also trying to attack Snakes. It depends. Does he want to attack or does he want to defend? He is going though for Snakes. He's got in a decent exit. Here he goes. Ivan Santamaria coming down into turn 4. He goes for the inside. Here he goes on Snakes. On the inside, side by side. We've seen so many moves happen here in today's race. Snake still holds out the lead, just gets a better exit with that outside line. That is what turn 4 has proven all races, that outside line is a lot stronger than most people think. But what an attempt at a move though. Even to attempt that was a very strong thing, because you don't see many drivers trying that.
No, yeah, very, very difficult move there to pull off. And Ivan Santamaria doesn't manage to do it. Our pole sitter, who led the first part of the race so easily under wet conditions, in fact pulling away from the group, has found it a bit harder on the dries, but he's had good pace throughout here, and he's only 2.5 tenths behind Snakes here as they're on the penultimate lap. Oh, we're running out of opportunities to overtake here. Kuiper's a bit far adrift, so he doesn't need to focus on the defence at all. Looks to the inside, late on the brakes, trying to make it difficult for Snakes, but actually he's going to make it difficult for himself, because he's going to be on the back foot to Kuipers as they run down towards Schloss Gold, and he does just gain a bit more time. It's going to be a last lap lunge if it is going to be a move for the lead here. Snakes has done incredibly well today, and of course he has risen up 2 positions, starting 3rd on the grid. The penalties wise, none of the top 5 have penalties, so we won't see any penalty problems unless someone gets something heartbreakingly on the final lap. Victor Widler does have 3 seconds worth of penalties, but he's 2.5 off of Emmy, and I don't think it will have much of effect on him, or anyone really will have much of effect. Maybe Leonard Schacht will lose a position with his penalties. No, he won't, because the cars around him have penalties. So focusing back on the front, Ivan Santamaria is 6 tenths off the lead of this race. The pole sitter looking to ascend back to the top of the pile here on the final lap. It will have to be a long move towards turn 3 or maybe turn 4, and it'll be EOS burn for the front 2. You can see Kuiper's game being absolutely distanced because he doesn't have much EOS, but Santamaria now flashing, so it'll be very tight out of turns 3, and there's a little bit of a gap, and we'll see if Snakes has done enough to charge through the end here, and I think he has. Snakes has done an impossible job to keep the lead of the race for the final 6 laps, and he's done an absolutely amazing job, and I think it means that he will take his first race win of the season if he can hold it together through the final part of the lap, get no penalties, keep it on the tarmac. And it is going to be disappointment for Kuipers. He led a lot of this, but ultimately lost out because he didn't charge his EOS, and everyone flashing now. Everyone has done all the deployment they can in the world, but as they cross the line, it's around the final corner. It's going to be a first race win for Snakes this year, and it is fantastic to see him at the top again. Ivan Santamaria into second. I think he'll take the lead of the championship. Kuipers in 3rd. A good points results for him. He's been looking in the wars before, and it's good to see him in the ascendancy. Stella Artois and Emmy have probably done enough there to take the constructors' lead of the championship. We'll have to get confirmation of that provisionally after the race. Victor Widler, 6th position, decent points for the McLaren outfit. He would have wanted more though. Sixten Lindhardt in 7th, a decent recovery drive after that woeful choice to go on to the dry tyres too early, compounded by the fact that the safety car came out, but probably helped by the fact that the safety safety car came out. That's how bad a move it was. Mika Biemp in 8th. 9th is Matty, and Leonard Jask, only 10 finishes today, finishes in 10th position and will pick up a point. Kyan, Daniel and Matteo are the 3 cars who didn't make it to the end, and leading the championship into the race. Matteo won't be at the end here. What a race epic!
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most dramatic couple of final laps. This is something that you don't see all the time. You know, people say that sim racing is so exciting on F1 22, but you don't see a finish like that. You know, last moments, everybody using everything they can, and that's what we love to see. Snakes wins in Austria. It's an important one. He's had some bad luck this season. He definitely should have won. I believe it was back in Singapore, but he's won here, and it's a redemption day for Snakes. And he steps onto the top step of the podium and gets a win alongside Ivan Santamaria and new championship leader and Timo Kuipers. So a great day for Timo Kuipers as well in there.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic for Kuipers. I think it'll be a bit disappointing not to get the win, but realised the EOS situation was as such that he was probably lucky to stay on to 3rd position. Stella Artois sniffing around the podium positions there, looking to make it 2 Alfa Romeo podiums in a row, and it would be, of course, his first in PSGL, but not managing to quite do it. We'll have the final confirmation of the standings. Oh, no, we don't actually have it because I didn't see it in time. So that is that's that. But yeah, an absolutely a superb race overall, I think.
Yeah, I don't have words for this race because changeable wet conditions in qualifying, followed by wet conditions to dry in the race. With, it stopped raining, but it was still wet for such a long time, and it was very much a guessing game for a lot of the drivers. Safety car out of nowhere. We've had so much today. I mean, my brain is overloaded with how much has happened. But honestly, this has to be, in my opinion, out of all of the races I've commentated on, all of the races I've seen, this goes above a lot of real-life F1 races. And this is going to be in my top 5. Definitely.
It was very, very good. I did enjoy that one massively. We'll have the interviews very soon here. We'll see who is actually in the interviews. But I'll just quickly go down the order and sort out my list. But I'm just going to try and get a quick render on the standings. And of course, it will be provisional standings, of course. And we'll just switch over to that. So, yeah, as I babble, it's because I'm actually just generating some standings in the background. Let's have a quick look. So, Ivan Santamaria takes the lead of the championship after that result. Snakes gets into 2nd. Sixten Lindhar into 3rd. I think he maintains 3rd position. Stella Artois in 4th. Emi in 5th. And Alfa Romeo do take the top of the construction standings. Of course, that is all provisional. I cannot stress that enough. Penalties have not been applied. I don't know if my recording tool has got everything absolutely perfectly accurate, but Matthew, who was leading the standings, is now 11 points behind the lead here in 6th position. So disappointment for him because he crashed out of the race quite early on. That's 2 disappointing races in a row for him. We'll see how he can bounce back at Baku next time out. But interviews wise, let's see who has come into the box, and I'm sure we'll have a few people in there. Can you see who's waiting to be interviewed?
And Timo Kuipers.
Yes, right. Okay, so let's.
Ivan Santamaria if he wants to do it, and still no response.
So let's get Timo Kuipers in first, finishing 3rd today. You led periods of that race, and you just saw it slip away because of EOS management. How do you rate the race for yourself? Are you happy with the 3rd position after starting 6th? Kuipers, you're not speaking if you meant to.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so I'm quite happy. I knew I was the only one of the top 5 with a dry setup, so I was quite happy with the wet weather pace. I could keep up with them quite nicely, so that was fine. And I knew I would be faster in the race in the dry, but unfortunately I got pushed wide, and I lost the top 3. So
Yep. So you are up into you're up in the standings. I didn't quite see where you'd got to. I think it's your first points right of the season because you've had a bit of disappointment in Spain. Able to make it to Singapore, and of course you had that moment with Ivan Santamaria last time out at France. Battling him again today. Did any of that come into your mind?
I was thinking about France quite often in this race, especially when he went for the move in turn 3, and that made me lose 2 positions. I was quite angry at the moment, but after that I was fine. I kept calm and just secured the P3. And I tried to make a move on lap 33 or something, but it didn't work out, and I knew they were fast because they had more ERS. So I have to take another P3.
Yep, so you're provisionally up to 11th in the standings right now. So points on the board. Looking forward at Baku, can you start to get a run of points here for the AlphaTauri team and yourself?
The problem is I can't race next week.
Right. So the head of steam starts and you just blow it out.
Yup, exactly.
It's a master tactic.
Tomo can do it. No, I can't race next week, so I'll have 2 weeks of practice for China, and I will be back there.
Well, yeah, it'll be good to see you back on track when you do make it back. Congratulations on your first podium of the season, and hopefully many more of those to come. We will talk to Snakes next, the race winner who moves into second place in the championship, provisionally I should say. How did that race go for you? Up 3 places from the start. How does it feel to win in PC F5?
Really nice. I really enjoyed the race. It was really interesting with from going from wet to dry. Haven't had that in the league race for quite a while, so it's pretty interesting. I gained a place at the start. I think my start was pretty good most of the time, so that was really good. And then at the beginning, Ivan was pretty quick, so I couldn't really catch up. What's wet, I heard later that he had quite high wings. So I just used that to my advantage. So when it was dry, I gained back in the DRS. Safety car helped of course. And at the end it was just trying to get as much ERS as possible. So at some point it was P1 and it was P3. Then Ivan and Timo were betting, so I could get P2 again. At some point P1 again, and then just as you manage my ERS again, and you use it all in the last step.
Yep. And over those final 6 laps, did you feel like, right, I've got the lead of the race now, I can hold this to the end, or did you think that attack was going to come?
Definitely the attack was going to come. I think lap 33 it was that he attacked me, and I had to defend a bit. It was pretty close, but after that, the last few laps, I was pretty sure I had enough ERS to defend. And then the gap was half a second, so it wasn't really close enough to really fight. So then I basically knew I won the race if I didn't make a stupid mistake.
Yep, and so you're now second place in the championship. How fortunes can turn around just over a couple of races, 2 points behind Ivan Santamaria. Looking at Baku next week, do you have your eyes on the big prize in PCF5, and do you think Baku could be good for you?
I don't really like Baku, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I haven't really driven it. I think a lot of people haven't really driven it in league racing, but normally I don't really like the track, but we will see how it goes. I wasn't really too confident for today as well, so I guess we will see.
So what was the feeling when you crossed the line? Because I really want to know that, because I haven't won much in league racing, but I want to know what was the feeling after such a long race and such an up and down season, where you've had chances to win, but you've been unlucky. Was there excitement, or was there just sort of tears of joy?
Especially excitement. Just really happy to win, to have 2 podiums in a row at the moment, so if I just continue like this, then I definitely have still to fight for the title in the end.
You've led every race that you've participated in at some point. Of course, things didn't go your way in Singapore, having that moment with Leonard Jask. But certainly you are one to watch through the championships. And congratulations on your first win this season. I believe you've won a couple of times before in previous seasons. 3 wins before, so it's your 4th win in PSGL. So congratulations massively. And it'll be really interesting to see how you attack Baku next week. But thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So that wraps up our broadcast today. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable one, I must say. Lots of battling on track, and next week we head to the streets of Baku, the land of fire, the city of wind. It will be an epic duel, I'm sure. Any driver of the day today for Epic? I'm going to throw it over to you for driver of the day.
I don't want to be rude, but it's got to be Timo Kuipers. I think he drove one of the strongest drives out there, probably the strongest. But I think the fact that he's still got on the podium, although he had such low EOS for so long, I think he really did deserve that podium, and I think he's definitely a deserving driver of the day.
Absolutely. So, driver of the day for Kuipers from Epic. We will see you next week for round 5. Thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in today, and we will see you again very soon.